that's going to change our minds.
Water of the word.
The water of the word. Which is what? I mean, that's kind of vague. We know what that means because we just went over it. But everybody else ain't going to know what that means.
The commandments and testimony of Christ.
The commandments of God and the testimony of Christ. Give me that real quick in Psalms. Yeah. And then get 1 Corinthians 14:20.
Psalm chapter 19 verse 7.
Bring it up.
The law of the Lord is perfect.
The laws of God is perfect. Remember, you just said the laws and the testimony is what changes. The laws of God is perfect. You listening, Big G? You listening?
The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul.
So the laws of God is what converts your soul. When God say don't defile your temple as one of his laws, right? That means if I'm smoking dope, I'm gonna stop. That means if I'm smoking crank, I'm gonna stop. That means if I'm smoking weed, I'm gonna stop. That means if I'm smoking cigarettes, I'm gonna stop, because I'm trying to convert my spirit to what God says. Right? So he says the law is what's perfect, and the law converts the soul. It converts the mind. The mind controls the action. Right? If I hate stealing, am I gonna go in the store and steal? No, because God teaches you to hate that thing. You see what I'm saying? So now go back.
Matthew 18:3. And said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted,
Except you be changed,
and become as little children.
and become as little children, meaning, like we said about a child. A child wants to soak up and learn. He's not going to sit there and argue back with you about what he thinks. Like when we was teaching the image of Christ, right? A person with a child who's becoming as a little child is going to just sit there, pay attention, and listen to the Bible, right? It's not going to say, well, I learned it, my pastor said, and what I learned was, and what I seen was, and what my pastor, and when I went to church. Now you're contending. God say don't do that. Be as little children, because little children, you're going to learn something. That what he's telling you to do is humble yourself. And you got to relearn all over again. Give me that in 12 and 20?
14 and 20.
1 Corinthians 14 and 20.
1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 20.
Come on.
Brethren, be not children in understanding.
So he said, don't be a child in your understanding, because guess what? He wants you to be able to learn and grow, right? So don't be children in your understanding, right? Come on.
Howbeit, in malice be ye children.
But I want you to be children as far as hatred and malice go as well. Because if you get two children and they fighting over a toy, they going at it over a toy. What's going to happen 5 minutes later after they forget about the toy? They're going to be cool again. They're going to be playing again. They're going to be chilling. They're going to be done forgot about all of that stuff that happened 5 minutes ago. You see what I'm saying? So God wants you to be children in your malice, in your anger, in your hatred, right? And then with that mind, now use that mind to grow. Take things in, learn, and grow all over again.
But in understanding be men.
But in understanding be men. Because a child eventually grows up to be a man. So with the learning that you've taken in, becoming as little children, grow up to be a man of your understanding. That's not saying go back and be a kid again, because you can't go back in time. But what he's saying is humble your mind state, relearn all over again, take it in, and with that understanding, grow up as a man of God, what you're supposed to be. All right? So now give me 2nd Esdras,
Right there.
14.
Y'all shine that light, man. Shine that light. I needed this word though, man. It helped me to just.
But it's time for you to shine the light now.
Every day I'll be renewing my mind though to grow in this way though.
There you go. Now it's time for you to shine your light. It's time for you to take the things that you learning and start to apply them in your life, so that you can be an example to the younger men that come behind you.
Yeah, that's
right? You got kids?
You got a son, yeah.
You got a son? How old is your son?
6.
Your son is 6. So he haven't experienced the dope game, the money game, the thought game, you know what I'm saying, the gang bang and all that. He ain't experienced none of that as of yet. But guess what? By the time he hit 13, 14, those things are going to start to come into his life, right? And guess what he's going to look back to when those things happen? When those things start to come into his life. Guess whose examples he's going to first think about? Yours. So if you was gangbanging, when the gangbangers come to him, he's going to be like, well, yeah, my dad did it. It may not be so bad. When the cigarette first come to him, he's going to be like, well, I see my dad smoking, so it must not be all that bad.
Yeah, well, that's what the Bible says. Teach your kid the way to go, or grow your kid up in the right way to go. It won't leave him.
And it won't leave him. Yeah. See, so you know these things, so you got to start changing your ways now, because you got somebody that's coming up behind you. Yeah. Right? So read that real quick.
2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 34. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding.
Meaning what? Hold back the things you thought you knew. You got to hold those things back. Come on.
And reform your hearts.
And now change your heart. What is your heart according to the Bible? Your mind. That's exactly what it is. He says now you got to reform and rechange your thinking process through what? God's laws. Come on.
And reform your hearts. Ye shall be kept alive.
Because guess what? 2/3 of the people here are prophesied to die. He said you got to change and you might be kept alive. Guess what? The Bible says only 1/3 of God's people are going to live. 2/3 are going to die. Of our people alone. The other nations got to pay for what they did to us. But guess what? When it's time for their judgment, 2/3 of us is going to die with them. You see that? 66.6% of our people is going to die. Only 33% is going to live. Do you want to be a part of the 1/3 or a part of the 2/3?
I'm a soul survivor.
And so if you're going to be that soul survivor, you got to apply what's in the scriptures. The scriptures is your history book. You think in high school, they taught us U.S. history. They taught us world history. But guess what? If they would have taught you your history, they would have taught you the Bible. Because the Bible is your actual history book.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today.
When you learn about King Solomon, when you learn about King David, when you learn about Jesus Christ, when you learn about Saul, when you learn about Paul, when you learn about the disciples, when you learn about Isaiah, Jeremiah, when you learn about Ezekiel, when you learn about Haggai, Zerubbabel, when you learn about all these prophets, you don't even realize those are your forefathers. That's where your history is hidden. So with us reading the Bible, guess what we're reading to you? Your history. We're giving you back your history. We're giving you back your sense of self. I know you might have wondered where am I at in all of this? What did we do as a people before we was enslaved? What happened to us? Because they shaved that history off. They shave it off. They don't teach it to you at all. They teach you from slavery up. And then if you want to go back before slavery, they'll tell you was a dirty African with bowl in your lip and drinking out of cow ass and eating cow dung. But no, you was the greatest people on the face of the planet. That's why it's called repent and return. Returning to what? The greatest people on the face of the planet. Right? Finish that for me real quick.
And reform your heart.
And change your mind.
And ye shall be kept alive.
And you may survive when the second coming of Christ comes. Did you know that the second coming of Christ is not going to be song and dance? It's going to be death and destruction. Did you know that? Let me read it for you. Give me that in Isaiah. Give me that in Isaiah. 66. Give me that. I'm going to just hit it for you real quick. Give me Isaiah 66.
Verse 15.
Yeah.
Isaiah chapter 66 verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire.
Christ is coming with fire. Come on.
And with his chariots like a whirlwind.
He coming with a fire and chariots like a whirlwind. That means when you least expect it. Come on.
To render his anger.
To render his what?
His anger.
He ain't coming happy. He coming pissed off already. But by the time he make his second coming, he's coming pissed off.
That's right.
So guess what? If you walk in your house, right? You walk in your house pissed off. Is it going to be good for the people that's in your house when you walk in your door? What's your name, my man? Sean. If you walk in your house, you coming home from work, and you walking in your door pissed off, is it going to be good for the people that's in your house? Hell no, it ain't going to be good. I'm walking in the door pissed off. Christ is coming in the door pissed off. Read.
To render his anger.
To render his anger
with fury.
With fury.
And his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by sword will the Lord plead with all flesh.
Come on.
And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
And the slain of the Lord shall be many. What does that mean, in the slain of the Lord shall be many? A lot of people gonna be dead during the second coming of Christ. That's why he said you gotta change and reform your mind and you will be kept alive. You see what I'm saying? If you want to be that soul survivor, you gotta change and reconfigure your thoughts and your ways so that you will be kept alive.
That's right.
A black man is returning with all his fire and with all his anger. Why? Because of, first and foremost, for what they did to us. They're not getting away with what they did to us over all these years. All the nations had a hand in our demise.
Right.
And they're not getting away with that. Christ is coming back pissed off. And then those of us that want to stay in league with these other nations, Christ is going to kill them too. But those who change and reform their minds shall be kept alive. Go back to 2nd Ezra. What are they going to be kept alive for, though? I'm going to touch that too real quick, because we're going to be kept alive for a specific reason. I'm going to give you that specific reason why we're going to be kept alive. Read that.
2nd Ezra chapter 14 verse 34. Therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding.
Our own understanding is Christmas. Our own understanding is birthdays. Our own understanding is white Jesus. Our own understanding is Christian church. Our own understanding is eat what you want, do what you want, it's all good in Jesus. We got to subdue that own understanding and reform our minds to us being the actual children of the Bible, the Israelites. God's laws is given to us. We must keep the high holy days. We got to keep the Sabbath day holy. Men, we can't be out here. We got to rule our households as men. We got to take the household back. Our women can't be wearing pants. Our households can't be out of order. We got to reform our minds to what the Bible says. Read.
Therefore, if so be, and you will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts.
And reform your mind.
Ye shall be kept alive.
You got a chance at surviving the onslaught when the black Messiah returns. Come on.
And after death.
And after everything dies in this place, it's time to be refreshed.
Ye shall obtain mercy.
You shall have mercy. What is that mercy going to lead to? Give me Revelation 2 real quick. What is that mercy going to end up leading to? So we must return to God's laws if we're going to have mercy when the second coming of Christ comes. Remember what we just read. The second coming is with fire and with a sword and anger and killing and blood everywhere. Blood, the scriptures say that the blood is going to be up to the Messiah's hips. The blood, there's going to be so much bloodshed, he's going to walk through it like he's walking through a creek. Read what you got. See, people don't know the God that they say they serve. They don't know the Bible.
Right.
Read what you got.
Revelation chapter 2 verse 26. And he that overcometh.
Start up at 25.
Verse 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come.
That which ye have already, which is the Bible. Hold fast until I come. He said you got enough of the scriptures to make it till I return, to survive. Right? Come on.
And
hold fast means actually keep the commandments that's in there. Don't just have it in your car windshield and think, okay, if I ride with this, I got the protection of God, and so I might not get pulled over today. No. Understand the laws that's written therein and apply them to your life. Come on.
And he that overcometh.
Him that overcomes his daily sin, his trial and tribulation.
And keepeth my works unto the end.
And keeps the commandments of God to the end until that destruction comes and everything is all cleared up.
To him will I give power.
To him will I give what?
Will I give power.
To him will I give what?
Will I give power.
So you don't only just survive, you get what?
Power.
You get what?
Power.
You get what?
Power.
You don't just survive the onslaught, you get power!
Over the nation.
Power over who?
Over the nation.
The nations have power over you now. They set up drug stores in your community. They say what you can and can't do. They say what the standard is for getting a job. They say what taxes you gotta pay. They have the power now. But when Christ comes and you survive, he's gonna give you what?
I will give power over the nations.
You get the power back over the nations. The nations rule over you now. But in that day, if you survive, if you're that lone survivor, Christ is going to give you power over the same people who have power over you. Read.
And he shall rule them.
And he shall what?
Rule them.
And he shall what?
Rule them.
And he shall what?
Rule them.
And he shall rule them. Now you're going to rule. They're ruling you right now. They set the laws that take you to jail. But it says, and he shall rule them. Read.
With a rod of iron.
So it's not just about surviving. The surviving is only one aspect of it. Now Christ is going to turn you into the actual king who you say you are. You're going to actually be that. He said, I'm going to give you power over the nations. You shall rule them the same way they ruled you.
That's right.
Read.
As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers.
So the same way they broke you, you're going to break them. Same thing they did to you, that's called righteous judgment. You wonder why we, no justice, no peace. We're not going to get justice or peace from the very same people who raped, robbed, and enslaved us.
That's right.
And kill us in the street. They're not going to give you that type of justice. God is going to give you that justice.
That's right.
Christ is going to return and give you that justice.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.